Greetings and welcome, my friend, to the next episode here at the Red Delta Project YouTube channel, helping the whole world get stronger with the power of calisthenics training. I'm Matt Schifferly, and today we're looking at a unique suspension calisthenics exercise that is very rarely practiced, but can make a big difference in building up your shoulders and your upper back. Now, on the surface, this may look like a classic, just straight overhead raise that you used to see like old school bodybuilders do with dumbbells before everybody got all crazy about don't ever go above 90 degrees and stuff. And you're doing the same thing with suspension straps or gymnastics rings, works just fine. You're leaning back and lifting straight on up. You're getting a good stretch in your lats to boot. It's a good mobility exercise. And more importantly, it's working a lot more in the upper back if you get the technique dialed in. And it's those details that make all the difference in the world, particularly how are you engaging your extension chain or the muscles that extend your body back. So for setting up with this, we want to make sure our glutes and hamstrings are locked and solid, and we can have a little bit of movement in our spinal erectors, but you want to kind of keep it minimal. You want instead most of the motion to come from shoulder flexion, straight up, and a little bit of retraction and elevation with the shoulders, especially if you want to get those upper traps. Because if you're just locking yourself in, you're going to have a very limited range. So you want your shoulder blades moving, so that way you have the most engagement in your shoulders and your traps. Remember, we don't want to isolate, we want to integrate, and having a big range of motion, pausing at the top and getting the shoulders up at the very top to really engage that upper back. Furthermore, you can play around with the end position and the transition with your arms. So the traditional way of doing this is with your arms pretty straight, and you're just coming straight on up with your hands about shoulder width or a little bit narrower. You can also go with something of a Y fly formation, as I like to call it. And my favorite variation is a little bit of a curve motion to it. Up and around, kind of almost like a bit of a jumping jack movement with a bit of an oval shape. These changes enhance the flavor of the exercise. They don't really make that much difference as far as what they're actually doing. Remember, a lot of times it's the basic fundamental movement that is responsible for the lion's share of the effectiveness of an exercise. Little things like this are just more of the details that change how it feels. Maybe it feels better in the shoulder. Maybe you can feel it a little bit more in the upper back if you do one versus the other. But don't feel like you've got to include every variation into it. It's not like if you do one variation and not the other two, you're going to be really missing out on anything. You're still getting the basic idea taken care of. And this is typically the type of exercise that I point people towards when they're starting asking me, how do we get things like lateral raise equivalents with calisthenics? And the answer to that is you typically don't need to, because you're going to get most of your shoulder development from basic compound movements, especially overhead press, pike push-ups, handstand push-ups, and so on. This is a nice way to add a finisher or a pre-exhaust if you're kind of doing a body weight bodybuilding approach. And if you're finding it a little bit stubborn to engage your deltoids and especially your upper back, this can be something to put into your routine to really just get a little more spice and activation in those muscles. And as always with these videos, I put a micro workout down below if you want to play around with it, with the inclusion of some other exercises to really hit the shoulders and the upper back in a quick and efficient manner. Don't forget, subscribe, like, share, all that sort of thing. I come out with these videos every single week. And if you have any further questions, leave them down below in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching. Be fit and live free.